السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Talking about performance management, we have to start with its definition. Performance management is the process through which managers ensure that employee activities and his activities and outputs are congruent with the organization. It is a continuous process of, number one, identifying performance at all levels of the organization, departments, teams, and individuals. After identifying the performance, during the performance, we have to measure this performance at all levels, then developing or improving the performance and aligning the performance with the strategic goals of the organization. So by this, we start from the starting point is the strategic goals of the organization and ending up with the detailed performance of each employee. The comparison between performance appraisal and performance management. For performance appraisal, emphasis is on evaluation of individuals. It's an annual exercise. It must have rewards and recognition of good performance, designed and monitored by HR department, owned mostly by the HR department. While performance management does not focus on assessing or evaluating individuals, but on performance of all levels, individuals, teams, and organizations. It is a continuous process, not annual exercise. Performance reward may or may not be an integral part of the whole process, designed by HR department while monitored by respective department. Ownership is with the line managers, the direct supervisor. HR just facilitates its implementation. Contributions of performance management for each of employee, manager, and the organization. For employees, definitions of job and success are clarified, motivation to perform increased, self-esteem is increased, self-insight and self-development are enhanced. Contributions for managers, having supervisors' views of performance communicated more clearly, managers gain insight about subordinates. There is a better and more timely differentiation between good and poor performers. Employees become competent. For the organization and HR department or function, organizational goals are made clear. Any organizational change is facilitated. All the administrative actions are more fair and appropriate, and hence there is a better protection from lawsuits against any administrative decision by the managers or the organization. The cycle of performance management starts with setting expectations at all levels, then observing the behavior or the performance and measuring its results, and finally giving feedback, providing actionable and feedback. What are the different purposes of performance management systems? Strategic, administrative, informational, developmental, and organizational. The strategic purpose, linking employee behavior with the organization's goals, communicating more crucial business initiations. For the administrative purpose, providing information to make decisions regarding salary, promotions, retention or termination, recognition of individual performance and layoffs. Informational purpose, communicating to employees the expectations, what is important and what is less important, how they are doing, and how to themselves. Developmental purpose, performance feedback and coaching, identifying individual strength and weakness points, causes of performance deficiencies, and tailoring development plan for each individual career path. The organizational maintenance purpose is to plan effective workforce, assess future training needs, evaluate performance at all organizational levels, evaluate effectiveness of the HR interventions. Documentational purpose includes validating selection instruments and techniques, documenting administrative decisions, and helping to meet requirements. Coming to the key performance management questions: why assess performance? What performance to assess? How to assess performance? Who has to assess performance? When to assess performance? And how to communicate performance assessment. The why: as we mentioned before, to administer salary, wages, correct performance behavior, plan for future promotions and transfer, career development, facilitating any decision making regarding counseling and terminations, facilitating human resources planning and creating supportive culture, finally building good relationships and increasing organizational. What to assess? This is very important point. What do we mean by performance that we have to assess? Is it the knowledge or trait that the employee or individuals or each individual has, or his behavior, or the outcomes and outputs produced by him, or all of them, including traits, skills, knowledge and abilities, needs of individuals that interact with the organization to produce behaviors with or which result in outcomes and outputs. So the three main points, including traits and skills and needs, behaviors and outcomes, assessed. This table includes different examples for each of the three: traits, skills, abilities, and needs, including the knowledge that the individual or employee has about his job and about the business, including some motives such as desire to achieve, abilities such as dependability, creativity, and honesty. Examples for patterns of behaviors: performing tasks, obeying instructions, and reporting problems, maintaining equipment, following rules, and so on. Examples for results to be evaluated or assessed: amount of sales, production level, quality of production produced, scrap and wastes, and accidents, and so on. Measuring focus to be compared with. We have some current indicators for the current performance to be compared with internal sources and external sources. Internal including the comparison with the previous or historical indicators over time for the same individual or organization or team and so on, or comparison with the predetermined or future standard, or finally comparison with some external averages on the industry or organizations. How to assess performance or approaches to measuring performance. And this topic you have discussed in the HR course in the second degree. The 5 approaches include comparative, attribute, behavioral, results, and quality approach. 5 different approaches that can be used in assessing performance. As we recognize, they are going up, they are upgraded. Every technique or approach handles the shortage of the previous one. The comparison is general among different individuals, then focusing on some traits or attributes that each individual has, then on the behavior activated as a result of the attribute, then the results or outputs or outcomes came from the behavior, and finally, not only any results to be achieved, but evaluating the quality of these results. Approaches to measuring performance includes comparative, which compares individuals' performance with that of others. Attribute focuses on extent to which individuals have certain traits or attributes. The behavioral defines behaviors that the employee must exhibit to be effective in the job. Results focuses on managing the objective, measurable results of a job. Quality focuses on the level or the quality of results, such as customer orientation, prevention of errors. The comparative approach includes general ranking or forced distribution, as we will see in the comparisons. These are the format or examples of these techniques under the comparison approach. The attribute approach includes graphic rating, fixed standards such as checklist. By this checklist, we check if the trait or the characteristic exists or does not exist in for or for each individual employee. Yes or no? Rating examples, it's a better technique that gives a score, scale of 5 or 4, or grade, excellent, good, fair, or poor, or not applicable. NE stands for not applicable, and gives some specific traits to give a score for each of them. The third approach is the behavioral approach. It defines the behaviors an employee must exhibit to be effective in the job using 5 techniques such as critical incident. It's a sheet for each employee that the supervisor or the manager lists or documents the major critical incident, its timing, description, and the results or outcomes of such an incident, recommendations based on behavioral observation, rating bars such as this example, having specific factors or items to be assessed, such as quantity of work or quality of work or some kind of judgment, starting from volume, low or very low and not stable, erratic, up to volume above expectations. It's a scale of 5, and the manager just checks the level 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. In the middle, we have satisfactory and steady volume. We have an example for Citibank's performance score, and it's linked to compensation, which means the assessment of each employee's performance is directly related to the bonus or the incentive. Microsoft Competency Toolkit. Here we focus on, or we mention to the assignment we had during our classes about preparing an answer for such questions about what the meaning of competency, giving examples and its advantages over other techniques of performance appraisal. Okay, so you have to prepare it yourself. Having example for Microsoft, for example, assessment centers is some external organizations or consulting groups that can be used in conducting the assessment for some positions such as top management